Now let's get back to Amir Sarfati. What in the world is going on?
In Syria, we see an interesting case. As you can see on the map, all the way on the very, very top, we can see the northern part of the rebels. We can see also part of them are, of course, the Kurds. We see also the grayish area with this ISIS. That's the ISIS-controlled area. We see the red area, which is the area that is controlled by the army of Assad, the official military of Syria. And we see the green one, which is the Al-Qaeda and its branches, which are known as the other rebels controlling parts of Syria. So many. And it's funny because when I was looking into who supports who, you find out that Russians are supporting the Hezbollah on one side, and they're also supporting, to some extent, the rebels. Then you see the Americans supporting the rebels down, but the rebels up, and you see that the Europeans are supporting one type of rebel, but another type of rebel, and these are all fighting each other. And the same weapon that comes from one country can actually be used by two sides to hit each other. It's a chaos over there. And that chaos over there reflects to Europe and reflects to the whole world. And it's interesting what we see with what is going on right now in Turkey. And the reason why I mention those countries is because we're going to see what the map of the Middle East is going to look like in a few minutes. Turkey is an amazing situation. The Turkish life until the attempted coup was failed were like what I call the egg carton system. You know what an egg carton looked like? Tiny little pyramids. Every little group in Turkey had its own elite. The elite in the education, the elite in the media, the elite in the military, the elite in the judicial system, the elite in the entertainment. Everyone has its own elite, and no matter who the president or prime minister were, the elites did whatever they felt like doing. They were not affected directly by any president or prime minister under their old constitution. And what happened is that Erdogan, who was first the prime minister and felt that nobody really listens to him, ran as president and decided, probably it's about time to change this thing. And so, the famous failed coup attempt in July, in the night of July 15, 16. Just so you know, the general from the Air Force that had an idea of throwing the Turks out, he was an attaché in the Turkish embassy in Tel Aviv. We know him. Actually, it's a good guy. He saw where the country is going. He didn't like that. He started that plot to remove Erdogan from office. And what happened is that it wasn't the most professional thing done because the Russians that are now in Syria and the Iranians that are now in Syria already got all the information hours before. The Russian intelligence alerted the Turks on the coup plan hours ahead. Erdogan knew about it almost a full day before it really happened. If that's not enough, the Iranian government had called the Turkish one and said, don't suppress it by the army because the whole world will take you as an illegitimate one. Just send the people to suppress it. Not just the people, it's actually 60,000 what we call POH member, Police Özel Hareket Dairesi, which is the police special action. These are policemen dressed as civilians. And they are those who clashed against the rebels and not the masses that the TV wanted to show. So what happened is, Erdogan allowed that coup attempt to fail, and then he goes all the way in, takes his fist, and basically crushes all the egg carton and flattens it all the way down, so only one pyramid stays, and that's himself. He arrests everyone from the judges to the people in the police and the military, entertainment, newspapers, TV stations, all the way to sports. Every elite is now sitting right now behind bars. All these lists were prepared way before, and this whole thing was executed just because of that coup. And just recently, you know, they just rolled their tanks into Syria. They claim that it's because of ISIS, but the real concern that we have in the Middle East by the Turks is the expansion of the Kurds that are taking advantage of this whole chaos, and they are expanding from the eastern part to the western part of the Euphrates. By the way, I admire the Kurds. I want to tell you something. These people do the dirty job that no other nation wants to do. In fact, the whole world is pushing for a Palestinian state for people that don't really exist, and everyone resists the right of a Kurdish state of people who are good people, who've been there for so many years, who always fight against evil and always side with the right people. And I don't understand how come everybody's so silent when it comes to the Kurdish issue, and they're so motivated when it comes to the Palestinian issue. That is another picture of the deception that is going on in this world. So the real reason for the invasion of the Turks is, of course, that. The Russians, I want to tell you something. Probably some of you heard that. I'm not sure if you all did. But something very strange happened in Israel just about 2 months ago. Something that most of the news networks never even reported. Israel unsuccessfully tried to intercept drone that breached its airspace. Now, all of our systems are designed to destroy anything that is coming into our airspace that is not made in Israel. Anything. And we tried unsuccessfully, which means something was wrong with that thing that penetrated into our airspace. And when we zoomed in on that drone, look what we found. We found that this is an Israeli aircraft industry Searches 3 drone. It's an Israeli-made drone. And when we looked at the inventory, who did we sell that drone to? It was Russia. And the Russians, just so you know, admitted that they have sent it, and they apologized. Russia not only is in Syria, Russia is already testing the water. How can we invade into Israel? Wow. And you want to tell me that I need to see blood moons? Come on. And I want you to know that this is not the only thing that happened lately with Russia. Last week, Moscow sent 3 warships from the Black Sea Fleet to the Mediterranean on board cruise missiles that can carry nuclear warheads. Russia deployed nuclear-capable Iskander-M missiles into Kaliningrad, which is right off the shores of Finland, bordering Poland. Russia announced it would send several hundred paratroops to Egypt for another military exercise, and Moscow, we know, suspended 3 nuclear agreements with the United States. Wow, they do not want to destroy all that uranium. Russia moved into Syria a game-changing weapon, the Gladiator SA-23. This is the most sophisticated S-300 weapon to destroy not only aircraft, but also cruise missiles. They know, they're basically telling the Americans, if you only try to even send cruise missiles, let alone warplanes, we will destroy it. This is a game-changing weapon. And that's the Iskander 9K720 mobile short-range ballistic missile system. That's what it looks like, which is now threatening Europe and the whole region. What about Iran? The famous agreement that last summer was signed by America and its allies, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Believe it or not, that shameful agreement did 2 things. One, Obama intentionally left all the ballistic missiles issue out of his agreement. So if the Iranians will violate any agreement, it will not be his and he will not have to act upon it.